the International University of Management, a Namibian university dedicated to its people's future, a hub of abundant opportunities.
We are IUM for life. We are IUM.
Good evening and welcome to Today on One. I'm Isai Sipunga. In the news tonight, Miss Supernatural 2021 kicks off homecoming tour. Tutaleni High School toilet renovation underway. Decentralization could improve service delivery, says IPPR. Northwestern parts in Namibia advised to prepare for drought. And Roundup, Business on One, Comments Corner, Sports and the weather. Now for the news in detail. The first African women and the first from Namibia, Shanique Rabe, who was crowned Miss Supernatural 2021, will embark on a national roadshow and homecoming tour around various towns of the country from Saturday, accompanied by delegates from the Miss Supernatural organization who have traveled from Poland for the victory tour.
President of the Miss Supranational organization notes that the pageant is a community for all countries with the aim to promote aspirational women, stressing the importance of authenticity for these women.
It's important a new community around you to build up something what is authentic. We will not save the world, it's impossible. We are too small, but we can try to have a better world around us, and that will also multiply with others. So that is for us important. And beauty pageant, it's not only nice face or nice skills, but it's more. It had to be complete. And I think with Chani we have a very complete young woman who can inspire young women, and not only but also men. And with her project, what she's doing, we are very proud about this.
Creative director for the organization explained the origin of the pageant, adding that Shanique's journey on the pageant revealed her compassion for people and authenticity, which were some of the contributing factors to her crowning.
From the day that they arrive, the young women and men are observed constantly by many, many people. And, you know, we are looking for somebody who's authentic, who's real, who's not putting a face to the world that they're not. We're looking for somebody that is warm, like genuinely warm, that has an open heart, that enjoys the experience. And that is why this young woman sitting next to me is so special. There's one thing that the Deputy Minister also told me today. Sincerity is not something that you can fake. And it was very easy to see how real she is, what a wonderful person she is, how compassionate she is, that she has a real heart for people, that she is who she is. And that is what we are looking for, authenticity.
Miss Supranational 2021 expressed gratitude and excitement to the organization for having given Namibia a chance and to share Namibia with the Supranational organization delegates.
We're going to start with the tour up to the north and a bit to the coast to show these gentlemen a bit of Namibia and to show them a bit of my project. We'll be visiting Hope Village tomorrow, where I present sewing classes. I'm very passionate about these projects, and I'm very excited to be growing these projects in the next year and after. Thanks to the Miss Supranational team that's here, we'll be looking at the projects and seeing possible opportunities for the future, hopefully internationally as well. The Miss Supranational team has given Namibia a chance. You know, usually you don't see Namibia on an international, on a big, especially in the Grand Slam top 5 international pageants, you don't always see Namibia. And they have seen something, not only in me, but in my country. They've given us as a country a chance this year.
Entries for Mr. Supranational Namibia are now open and will close on the 30th of October 2021.
Get ready to enjoy Simba's sounds of flavor.
All the Simba flavors. Let's roll. Guys, smoke beef. Kwenga vinegar. Shaya chocolate. Shakita mud.
Together we roar because Simba roars with flavor.
The Walfish Bay and Luderitz Fishing Company is in the process of renovating toilets at the Tutaleni High School in Walfish Bay. The school has been battling with broken toilets which are in dilapidating conditions since the beginning of the year.
Community Voices proudly brought to you by Namdeb Diamond Corporation. Good today, better tomorrow.
The Tutaleni High School in Walvis Bay has been battling with dilapidating toilets at the school and was considered as dangerous for the learners, especially during COVID-19 times. The school has been hoping for Good Samaritans to help provide new toilets and fix pipes for the sake of the learners' health.
It is that at the beginning of the year, or around March, we started struggling with toilet pots at the school. They started breaking down at a rate that was very alarming. So we started looking for people that can help us out with generous donations to renovate our toilets. And during these trying times of COVID-19, especially the boys' toilets, most of the pots that broke down were in the boys' toilets, and it made it very difficult to have proper hygiene and sanitation at the school for the learners, and it also made it a very unsafe environment. Now, with the help of what is being Luderitz Fishing PGY, we can make the school safe again going forward due to the material that they are donating and the pots that we will be installing and then renovating these toilets.
Shareholders of the Walvis Bay and Luderitz Fishing Company recently came to the rescue of the school by donating 40,000 Namibian dollars towards the renovation of the toilets. Company representative Richard Mbaha said that the company had the health of the learners and their community at heart and would like to ensure their continued safety.
Yeah, we see the need to donate and to help this school because it's our social responsibility. As a resources what we're having, what we can from the Ministry of Fisheries and Marine Resources, so it's a responsibility of the company to donate and to help the community. That's why as a company we also come to the rescue of this school, so that according to the health regulation of coronavirus, the kids we use only very few toilets in the school is not healthy. That's why we come to this rescue. We are very appreciative to the government and the former Minister of Fisheries, Dr. Albert Kawana, and the current one, to give this our right also as an Namibian catch this fish.
The school has about 960 pupils. Well-built and clean toilets will play a big role in ensuring good health and sanitation for the learners while they go about their day-to-day schoolwork.
Community Voices proudly brought to you by Namdeb Diamond Corporation. Good today, better tomorrow.
makeup, time for a shake-up. Pep up your room with 100% cotton-fitted sheets. Just $159.99 from Pep Home. And this lamp, only $99.99. Live it up for less. That's your room sorted at the lowest prices every day. Life's better with Pep.
Life's better with Pep. Oranjemund, established in 1936, from which point onwards CDM, now Namdeb Diamond Corporation, provided every service, the schooling, infrastructure and entertainment required for the people of the town. The winds of change is blowing over Oranjemund, which is no longer a closed town.
This ship was commandeered by King Charles III, and he actually sent a knight to Spain to go and fetch some money from investors, because they wanted to go and fetch some spices in India.
When we were kids, the mine delivered milk, bread, and black paper, black plastic bags for your rubbish, and cleaned your garden, did the maintenance of your house. You had furniture already installed in your house.
The Institute for Public Policy Research has released a study titled Regional Government in Namibia, which claims that decentralization can improve service delivery.
The goal of decentralization is to bring the government closer to the people by making public officials more responsive to their constituents' needs. Decentralization, according to IPPR researcher, enables participatory democracy and the ability for people to hold their leaders accountable.
If governance is decentralized, then if you think about it, then it brings the officials more directly close to the people. Now, the people are in a better position to hold these regional officials accountable, specifically regional councils, since they are elected as individual candidates rather than from closed party lists. So if a councillor is not doing their job in terms of service delivery, then you can hold them accountable by voting them out. It makes, in that sense, it makes participation a lot more accessible for the general public. And through things like development committees, which regular members of the public can be a part of, development committees work with regional councils to communicate what are the needs, what are the service needs of the community. So in those ways, with decentralization, there's a lot more direct ties between the government and the people, rather than having to try and communicate your needs to people in Windhoek, which is a lot harder to do. So in that sense, decentralization can really help for people to have more of a voice in what happens in their constituency, and also theoretically to improve service delivery in your area.
Decentralization was included in the ruling party's first manifesto and also appears in Chapter 12 of the Namibian Constitution. According to IPPR, the changing political ecosystem where opposition parties have control of several regions has made efforts to decentralize difficult.
Decentralization was included in the ruling party's first election manifesto. It is constitutionally enshrined in Chapter 12 of the Constitution, so that suggests that there is that will, but especially with the changing political dynamics, with 3 regions now being controlled by opposition parties, I think it becomes a lot more problematic for the ruling party to wholeheartedly support decentralization if they cannot now control everything that happens in the regions. So if they now have to cede control to a region that's controlled by the opposition, then perhaps this explains some of the hesitancy that we see cropping up now, because it means having to work with opposition who might not have your vision for the region, might not agree. So I think it's been a bit patchy, the political will. I think decentralization is one of these buzzwords that you hear. It sounds nice. So it's easy for governments to commit to it rhetorically, but it takes a lot of work and it takes a lot of investment. It can be costly initially to employ a lot of people at these regional levels, but if done well, then the benefits of decentralization definitely outweigh the costs.
Decentralization, according to the study, can have negative consequences if it is done in the context of poor policy design, institutional deficiencies, or resource shortages.
While the rest of the country is expecting normal to above normal rainfall, the northwestern part of the country is advised to prepare for a possible drought. The Namibia Meteorological Service is urging farmers in those areas to take the necessary precautions. The northwestern part of the country, particularly Kunene and western parts of Omusati regions, experienced suppressed rainfall during the 2020-2021 rainy season, while normal to below normal rainfall can be expected during the coming rainfall season. The Namibia Meteorological Service appeals to community-based organizations, media, and sectoral experts to raise awareness of the forecast and potential implications for the affected communities. The total content of the country's main water supply dams is relatively high and currently stands at 79% in comparison to 24% last season. Therefore, flood control management of dams for flood mitigation is advised. Furthermore, strengthening continuous rainfall, dams and river levels monitoring for early warning is encouraged. The seasonal rainfall forecast points to a normal to above normal rainfall season for most of Namibia except the northwest areas, where normal to below normal rainfall is anticipated. Hence, possibility of flooding and flash flooding in the traditional areas is not ruled out. The likelihood of heavy rainfall events followed by hailstorms and lightning, which can be destructive to infrastructure and humans, is anticipated. A normal to above normal rainfall is expected over the bulk of the country. Farmers are advised to expect a potentially favorable rainfall season and should cultivate their crop fields to the fullest and use various seed varieties to take advantage of the potentially favorable rainfall expected. Livestock farmers can restock their herds as there will be good grazing associated with potentially favorable rainfall forecasted.
Love of construction began years later. Okay. When I was a grown woman at the age of 25, got married to a Muslim husband, got pregnant, and as Muslim women are very protected, I was not working. I had to stay home, take care of myself and the unborn baby. And then we purchased our first home, but the home needed to be renovated. Okay. So I was a little bit bored at home, so when he was at work, I would go to the construction site.
Radio is incredibly popular. It's still more popular than TV in most countries. Yes. It's still doing incredibly well. In the UK, they have what's called now DAB, which is digital audio broadcasting, which again is another higher level than FM. With the smart speakers around the world, selling now around the world, again it's increased the audience because people now can literally by saying something, Alexa, switch on 99 FM, it's on.
In other leading stories, the German embassy has partnered with King's Daughters Organization and Help for NAM to support families in need with food donations in and around Windhoek, Okahanja and Rehoboth. A total of approximately 182,000 Namibia dollars from the micro project fund of the embassy is made available as an immediate support measure to purchase 500 food parcels to distribute these amongst households in need. The distributed items include staple foods such as maize meal, flour, pasta, rice, sugar, cooking oil, as well as sanitary items. The donations are primarily aimed at helping families of former sex workers, which mostly have to live in abject poverty with nowhere to go for support. King's Daughters organization based in Ventukaratura supports and assists former sex workers since 2006. The organization tries to offer these ladies an alternative to the streets in a more holistic way. Its mission is to reduce sex workers in Namibia by educating the women and train them to become community health counselors. This in turn can serve for them to act as multipliers in order to help still active sex workers to turn around their lives for the better. The King's Daughters organization is conducting an adherence support group to encourage HIV-positive sex worker members to take their medication within their antiretroviral therapy on time in order to reach viral load suppression. It is during these support group activities that the food packs are distributed to make sure that medications are not taken on empty stomachs. Help for NAM is a UK-based charity organization that was founded by Namibian expatriates. It has been active in Namibia with the distribution of food donations, especially in the current dire situation that some Namibian families are facing. The cooperation with King's Daughters organization was established during the current pandemic, where the UK charity was supporting with food parcels for the less fortunate.
This week on It's a Wrap.
I've been there, guests run out more than 3 times. It takes 3-4 days for them to fill it. Where does the money go to? Become like a big store where you hold people. Why don't you leave us in our little places where we behold and let us come to court then if it is a criminal case you want us to be. But now you put us in prison to try kill us slowly, or are you trying to get justice? Because if it was justice that the Namibian system is after, they would test every inmate that they bring in, because they know that it's Corona, it's the COVID time. They want the country and the people of Namibia to take COVID so serious, but yet the lawmakers and the enforcers of the law don't do that. Prisoners was just brought and thrown into a cell. Doesn't matter where you come from now, if you have it or not.
Angela Prusa, chairperson of the Cannabis and Hemp Association of Namibia, has long been lobbying government to legalize marijuana and shared her thoughts on the frequent arrests of cannabis users and dealers.
It's quite shocking in which violent manner the police is acting towards these individuals in comparison to the crime that is being committed, because essentially you need, for a crime to have been committed, there needs to be a victim. And when we look at the majority of cannabis arrests in Namibia, there is no victim.
Joseph Shifeni is standing by for today's edition of Business on One and Economic Indicators.
Welcome to this evening's edition of Business on One. I'm your host, Joseph Shifeni. The Mine Workers Union Trust launched the NAMIDVEST program, which will offer its members, former members and their dependents 25% interest of shareholding in its commercial arm valued at $103 million. The Deputy Minister of Mines and Energy praised the initiative, noting that it will uplift livelihoods and build generational wealth. Established in 1997, the Namibia Mine Workers Investment Holdings Company, or NAMIC, has invested in sectors such as mining, finance, transport and tourism. The company will empower over 37,000 beneficiaries through a special purpose vehicle that was launched today called NAMIDvest.
The vision of NAMIDvest, when I looked at it, saying it is to cultivate builders of positive future, create culture of progress, instill hope and inspire growth, is very inspiring. Therefore, in appreciating this noble initiative, I would like to encourage NAMIDvest leadership to ensure that this initiative delivers to its objectives. Hence, I implore you to ensure that the sustainable operation of NAMIDvest will create generational wealth for members, is your target, including their dependents for a foreseeable future. I would also like you to ensure that NAMIDvest's safety of its resources is maintained to benefit the members and their dependents.
Current chairman of NAMIC said the journey to NAMIDvest started at a Congress a decade ago, adding that beneficiaries should not expect funds from the initiative.
The NAMIC have sub-objectives, which are to create projects that will benefit these communities where these people are, to assist them financially, to do many things to improve their living standards. But now when you look at the current capital, and now we clap hands and we modest when we say the company is now worth net value 400 or close to $500 million. We say, sure, that's a lot of money. But this is not money in the bank. This is value. For us to have that $500 million, we have to sell everything and have nothing. Okay? So it's not money in the bank. So what happens is that NAMIC declares dividends to NAMIT and the trust embarks on projects. Now for the majority part of these years, one of the projects was the creation of NAMIDvest. Now to create NAMIDvest, this was simple to answer a one-sentence demand from our membership: direct beneficiation.
The founding chairman of NAMIC, John Shaitonodi, said the business value must be safely safeguarded, grown and sustained in a responsible manner.
I worked in the mining industry for 20 years, and our dependents, now they have a chance now to own units directly from this group of companies, NAMIC group of companies. And I thank everybody in the industry and commerce who helped us achieve these things. They are always called the captains of industry, but I think some of them you may have graduated to be now called titans of industry and commerce. So no more captains. Continue to run your businesses. We will work with you still. Thank you very much, the consultants, to arrive at this, and it took almost how many years now, 2 or so, to come to this stage.
In addition, NAMIDvest has established a loyalty and rewards program that will involve retailers giving discounts on purchases by members. Thank you for watching. Join me again next time, and don't forget to follow us on our social media pages.
Are you a CMAS member? Did you know that should you need medical treatment, you have access to quality private hospitalization, guaranteed specialist treatment in private hospitals across Namibia with Compliment Gap. Compliment Gap is a complimentary product for CMAS members only, which covers the shortfall between what CMAS pays and private hospitals charge. You and your family have more than 2 million in medical gap cover per year at a very affordable price. That's not all. You also have access to emergency evacuation within Namibia and $10 million international travel cover for those unforeseen events abroad. Take the financial burden off your shoulders. Invest in your family's health. SMS GAP to 999 555 and we'll contact you. Terms and conditions apply.
This is my favorite gear because it speaks for me and all my brothers. Nivea Men Black and White Deo. With 5 times Deo action to protect you and your favorite gear from stains. Try Nivea's #1 anti-stain deodorant. Nivea Men, it starts with you.
Time now for Comments Corner, your daily dose of comments from our social media pages. A 55-year-old resident from Ochimise was apprehended by the Namibian police force with the assistance of members of the Havana community for alleged sexual conduct with minors and sometimes prostitutes. They claim that this has been going on for the past 4 years. Vianda says he should be sentenced and not given bail. Julia says he does not have mental issues and knows what he is doing. Romeo notes that parents should talk to their daughters as there might be more men like that out there doing the same to other girls. Jerome notes that people should take photos and videos for evidence. While Celestine notes that she is speechless. And that's all from Comments Corner. Be sure to post your comments on our social media pages for broadcast every day, only on Today on 1.
Dear teachers, we know all the hard work you put in every day to make sure our kids get the best education possible. It's also our goal here at One Africa TV's #LearnOn1. That's why we bring free quality supplementary lessons that are 100% Namibian, compliments of NMH's MyZone. Lessons include early childhood development programs and primary school lessons. These air on One Africa TV every weekday from 9 to 11 a.m. with repeats from 2 to 4 p.m. There's so much to learn with #LearnOn1. Invite learning in.
Now on the sports front, the COSAFA Women's Championship match day 1 saw Namibia take on Uganda with a lack of creativity from the midfield, causing the match to end in a draw. More on this by Leston Voller.
Uganda head coach said that he understands why his team performed in that way, pointing out a lack of confidence due to limited game time.
I thank you very much for the team that I've been playing with. It has been a good team, as well as my team also has done their best to get that 1 point. I understand the first game sometimes is not always easy, but we always keep pushing the players to see that they get maximum points. I understand why we got that 1 point. We would have got the 3 points, but just we created the chances, but we could not utilize them. Maybe it was lack of the confidence. The players never had enough confidence. I expect in the second game to have enough confidence, create chances, and be able to utilize it. Yeah, it wouldn't have been a problem, but the effect of COVID has surely affected us so much. Very, very much. You've been under all the time, not available for the activities. But we are doing our best to overcome the situation, and we need to give the best results. Even the next time we can get another opportunity like this, because we like it very much. Yeah, it is giving us a good preparation for the coming tournaments that we have ahead.
Namibian coach Nicolas Jacobs said that his team was put under tremendous pressure from the start of the match and that matches in the championships are always difficult.
Uganda put us under a lot of pressure first half, and they didn't allow us to get into our groove and get into our game. And it's something that we have to reflect on now and try and improve in the next training session going into the next match. But I think a draw, because I think second half we came into the game much stronger and we created a few half chances, to be honest with you, and the girls were more assured of their performance and of the way they played. So all in all, I think it would be unfair to say that we deserve the win, although we wanted to win so much, but this is football, and at the end of the day we need to accept the result and we learn from them. So every game like this provides us with enough material to work on and to try and improve, and that's what we're here for. We're here to do well in the competition, because I believe that we have a very balanced squad in terms of youth and experience. The girls has been coming on for a while, although we didn't have much preparation, but for me it's not an excuse. I still believe that you need to go play a football match. So that was my reflection on the game, and I think well done to Uganda also for the way they approached it, and some good quality players in their midst. I think I would have been a fool not to select them, because like I said, the prohibition on contact sport didn't allow us to train, didn't allow us to get some quality game time in, and we piggybanked on the fact that Tura Magic was in Durban and they got the quality game. Even though they didn't do well, I believe the girls got good quality game time, and you could see some of them standing out here today. The captain getting man of the match, one of the Tura Magic players that played in Durban. So yes, we're banking on them, and with our problems that we have and the challenges that we are facing in terms of game time, we use this for that. And I said my focus as a coach would be on AFCON, to qualify for AFCON, and we use these games for that preparation. And we're going to play Tanzania. They're also here. We're going to have a look at them. I think they did very well yesterday, but our focus is not on them. Our focus now shifts to Zambia.
Namibia will be facing Zambia in match 2 with a maximum of 6 points still up for grabs in the group.
That's all we have for you. Join us again next time for Sports on One.
A look at the weather forecast. The Namibia interior partly cloudy and mild to warm in the Clarus region, but hot in the Zambezi region, elsewhere sunny and warm to hot. A few showers are most likely in the Zambezi region, and windy conditions will persist. The coast partly cloudy and mild with a few showers in the south, and the wind moderate to fresh southerly. Now we look at minimum and maximum temperatures across the country and beyond.
That's all we have for you. Join us again for a repeat at 9:30 this evening and the Omnibus Saturdays from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. From me, Isai Sipunga, and the rest of the team. Till next time, good night.
The International University of Management, a Namibian university dedicated to its people's future, a hub of abundant opportunities.
We are IUM for life. We are IUM.
kain kwas, kain sis, kain ai, Namibia ice. Didage sister Huldan Navasida. Didage I ho out. Namibia oncology center Naragrasisen. I come from Ti Quido. Bounce I hari. Omsnahari. Tuma badang nahure. Nugu sidagini ha ugu. Habedagedo nugu sidaga ha ugu habe. Hang are ugu ha. Hoge bounce I hari. Ida tadi nedi 2019 novel coronavirus sting higusa. Au. Bounce I hari.
Many countries that have passed their first peak of COVID-19 are experiencing a second rise in cases. Is this a second wave of infections, and could even more waves lie ahead? Previous pandemics might give us a clue. The 1918 Spanish flu was the most deadly pandemic in modern history. It killed at least 50 million people. Its second wave was the most deadly by far, killing millions more than the first and third. More recent outbreaks, such as SARS and swine flu, have also had 2 or more waves, so it looks like the COVID-19 pandemic could have several too. The World Health Organization has warned about the dangers of a deadly resurgence. Many countries and places have seen infections accelerate after bringing their first waves under control. These rises aren't necessarily new waves. They could be spikes. Spikes are rapid rises in cases that aren't sustained, whereas waves happen over longer periods and often contain several spikes or peaks. Second waves only take place after a first wave has retreated. Many scientists believe more waves are inevitable and think a worse one could hit during autumn or winter. Some other coronaviruses spread faster when the weather is cold. If this is the case with COVID-19, it would put health systems under huge pressure. Many people are still vulnerable, and immunity to the virus might only last a few months for those who recover. It's also possible that mutations to the virus could lead to new waves. Hundreds of mutations have been found, and some could potentially make the pandemic more severe. One mutation may have already improved the ability of the virus to bind its spike proteins to human cells. This strain of the virus appears to unlock cells more easily and has become dominant around the world. It's unknown how the virus will continue to change, but further mutations could make it even more dangerous and harder to control. A reliable vaccine would help solve many of these problems, but it may take many months or even years to find one. Until then, we all need to make long-term lifestyle changes to protect ourselves from further waves. How are you learning to live in a world with COVID-19?
I like rhinos. I like them very much. Future here in this area is depending on the tourism. The future generation, they can see and they can benefit from their own resources. Animals like rhinos, elephants, the big five, you benefit from them and it must be respected. are not feeding the rhinos. You are not giving them order. So it's a free business. I take 2 of my sons, which was little bit 5 years old. They were young guys. So they asked me questions. Why are we here? Why are we sleeping here? I told them this is our resources and this is our future.
My first memory of going with my dad is that I learned new things. As I grow up as a man, I see an opportunity in it. So I decided to look for a job pertaining to tourism. So that's when I was employed at Palamba. So I decided to go for tour guide studies, because I grew up with the tourism industry, the wildlife, the rhinos and everything, to bring that experience to the tourists. You can see the hyena. The biggest changes, I was employed, getting paid, and also I can now support my family.
It's a cultural thing. It's coming a long way. Even if you go to area like Treverfontein, area was a lot of paintings. You will see rhino engravings on the rocks. That is an indication that the interaction between human, especially the local communities, and wildlife is dating back. That intimacy relationship is coming for a long time.
We are right here now at Palamba, and Palamba is one of the big lodges in the heart of the desert. And as you can see, there is Jumbo standing behind me, which shows it's really a tourist area. We do have elephants, lions, but as you can see, the desert is the heart of the rhinos. This is the main breeding area of the rhinos, is what we found here in this desert.
It's the largest free-roaming population of black rhinos that you find outside national parks in the world. It's a population that communities in the northwest have taken responsibility themselves in managing this population with the structures that government has put in place, more specifically the establishment of conservancies.
These people, before independence, they took it upon themselves and decided that wildlife is our heritage, and through history we've been living with wildlife. And having wildlife in your area is like having a garden.
Because of all these animals, we've got the communities that benefit from all this wildlife, and it's like a triangle that fits into each other. And the communities looked after the wildlife doing their own thing, and the communities benefit.
So already there were this intergenerational relationship between mankind and wildlife, and that bond is what our people actually wanted to see continuing.
Very few countries have the wildlife that Namibia has. What is also important is the policies that Namibia has put in place, which also involves communities to be engaged in the management of the wildlife species and also to benefit from the wildlife resources.
Turn conservation into a rural economy, turn conservation into endless opportunities that would actually cater for those young people that have nothing else to do.
If it was not for rhino economy and tourism in this area, it was really difficult for young people to get or find a job.
We are conservation engineers. We make conservation work in an unfenced area, and through that, we want to turn the wildlife into the rural economy that will benefit the rural communities.
So we can see now wildlife is doing very well, the lodges are doing well, and the community is also benefiting. So it takes all three together.
Devastating hit over coronavirus fears. Airline industry is facing its biggest threat to travel since 9/11.
Since March, when COVID-19 hit Namibia, things actually become very difficult. In the first place, all the lodges closed down because of COVID-19. With us, say the Rhino Trust, we had some donors cutting on their funding. And then we had, in the same time, a poaching case of 2 rhinos that was poached. We had less boots on the ground, and poachers could actually see. Now it's all changed to go in and do something. So COVID-19 was tough on all of us. Ginger Morning, who is one of our trustees, actually came up with the idea of, why don't we ask you to go to buy some gold for us and make gold bars, and then we sell them for the rhino conservation.
I was fortunate enough to have a chance to have lunch with Clive Johnson, the CEO of B2 Gold in Vancouver, Canada. And I looked at Clive and I said, we've got rhinos, you've got gold, let's do something. Let's create a coin or a medallion or a bar using your resource to create a sustainable source of funding for rhino conservation for the future.
There was it. The gold was bought, the bar was made, and I think it was 31st of January that we launched the bars in Windhoek. And suddenly one morning I had an email from my office, from my finance person, saying, these people don't have salaries. So I said, oh, what now? So I picked up my phone and I phoned Mark Daw. I said, Mark, I've got this problem. He said, but we've got a fund already ready for you. You just have to apply, put a proposal in.
1,000 ounces of gold can make an enormous difference to the livelihoods of the communities that live up there. We are, in essence, providing income and providing a livelihood to the communities. In the absence of tourism, especially now with COVID-19, even prior to that, when we had such a bad drought, the communities became even more dependent on the natural economy.
The idea is to make this a fund that will last for the next 25, 30 years, or even longer. And a portion of that will be distributed immediately as needed. And in this case, the COVID-19 crisis necessitated us to distribute funds to pay salaries to help people in the field.
The proceeds of the sales from the gold bars will be going towards responsible NGOs. And we've identified Save the Rhino Trust as the key NGO. And IRDNC, one of the first organizations that was in the Northwest, Integrated Rural Development and Nature Conservation, so that ultimately the funds go to the communities and various aspects of their war on poaching.
To be able to support those hardworking men and women that are always in the front line between the poachers and the rhinos.
If it was not for B2 Gold and the golden bars, I think by now we should have been in big trouble.
By extracting the gold, you reinvest it in other renewable resources.
The gold that's coming out from the ground is actually protecting the wildlife that's working on the ground, which is a very good symbol for the others.
I wish this was my bar. This is the 500 gram gold bar. So you'll see on this side you've got the Etindeka Mountains and you've got the mother rhino with her calf. And then on the reverse side, we've got the serial number, you've got the Rand Refinery stamp, which is very important. Anywhere in the world, people will recognize the stamp and they will know that this bar contains 99.99% gold.
It is gorgeous.
We wanted to make a biggest contribution. And at Ballowwood, we see that as a way of giving back to the community.
Okay, so there you'll see the 500 gram bar.
Very special.
Feel the weight. It's incredible.
This opportunity which presented itself is absolutely a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity.
We're privileged to have this.
This is just absolutely gorgeous, and I think this showcase really what the project is all about.
It's from 24 karat Namibian gold.
I'm looking at these rhinos is put there like Miss World photogenic, I would say.
There are only 1,000 of these gold bars, rhino gold bars, in circulation.
As far as I'm aware, it's the largest single
donation of any corporate to the conservation of biodiversity anywhere in Africa.
Therefore, we so much appreciate and would want to continue as a government to work with B2 Gold.
And the fact that it's happening here in Namibia is something that we can all be extremely proud about and very grateful to B2 Gold.
Thanks to having this literal pot of gold through the funding for the Rhino Gold Bar, we're able to step in now and make sure that those trackers are supported, and so are their families and their communities.
We make sure that people sustain their jobs going forward. And who doesn't want gold?
And the B2 Gold Rhino Gold Bar has come in at a really critical time now, particularly with tourism being closed off and those forms of revenue not coming in.
To say we have the biggest rhino population or black rhino population in the world, let it be for the rest of our lives. And it's that heritage that we have, it's our resource that we can all look after and protect.
It's our heritage. And it's also good that other people like B2 Gold are also seeing it that way.
It's actually a very nice link between the investor that buys this gold bar, the rhino tracker in the northwest of Namibia, and the black rhinos. It's an intergenerational thing. The rhino trackers teach their children how to track rhinos, their children get taught, and so it flows down.
This is something that I want my children to have, and that we leave a little bit of a B2 Gold legacy. And if I can be part of that as part of my family, I'd be very proud.
It can also become an inheritance for the generations of my own clan. My children, my grandchildren.
If we can bring that passion over to future generations and to hand that over to my children, and I hope that that same passion for conservation gets migrated over to my kids.
And what we've done together is create a sustainable source of funding that should outlive all of us.
You know, I think as far as B2 Gold is concerned, we couldn't have chosen a better target in which to put our efforts as far as the environmental and conservation pillar is concerned. And I want to stress there that the money that's going towards environment and conservation is actually going towards the people.
Rhino is for all of us, whether you are in Canada, whether you are in Vancouver, whether you are in the US. If you really want to see conservation at play with rural communities, I therefore humbly request each and everyone to join us on our rhino tour and have a wonderful experience. This is what keeps rhinos on this planet.
I've done rhino trekking experience. It was just amazing walking in that landscape of the Kunene. And as we followed them, we could now find rhinos with the calf. We got the closest distance we could.
It's a warning sign.
And it was just amazing and lovely. It's something to experience that Namibia can offer. It's something that you have to do in your life.
Just believe in me.